him to do it now.
All right, it's still Good Morning Anambra, and you're welcome to a newspaper review. We have a guest in the studio to help us analyze these national, some of these national dailies we have. He is Mr. Paulson Okeke, a public affairs analyst. Glad to have you in the studio. You're welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
All right, we begin with looking at the stories on ABS website. The first story we have the building collapse. Stakeholders call for proactive measures to tackle quackery. FG sacks foreign miners from Zamfara State. NAC to commence mass metering of electricity consumers next month. Anambra residents cautioned against bush burning, indiscriminate dumping of refuse. Where do you begin? Collapse of building?
Well, I think the current news in town is building collapse. And I think all of us, everybody must join hands together to avert this disaster. You see people begin to erect houses without going through the normal process. What are the processes? Draw your building plan, go for approval, get qualified men, engineers, quantity surveyors, and so on to calculate, to tell you what it requires to build a house. But in our society, people just decide to erect houses.
And nothing happens.
And nothing happens because the regulatory bodies at times compromise. And that's the problem. In Anambra here, it is the same thing as it is in Lagos, in other parts of the country. And the government has taken a proactive measure by setting up raw materials testing laboratories here and there for them to check the materials, to test them to know if they meet the required standard. But you find out that they cannot be everywhere. And even when you tell them, go there, go there, go there, at times they don't.
And it's actually what you earlier said, that we should all put hands on that. Because if I'm a builder and I'm concerned, I wouldn't want my building to collapse. You know, I would take the process. Because some people say, oh yeah, I can magafecha before loan or stuff like that.
Even like that, you still see people who have bungalows. Because of the demand in house renting, people will convert bungalows to two-story buildings.
I'm telling you, and if you look at the kind of houses they build this time, it's really...
Without proper foundation, without using qualified contractors. Some of them are going on here and there in Oka here. People converting bungalows to two-story buildings for commercial purposes. Is it fair? And you tell them, they'll tell you, don't worry for me. We have a 9-year authority, approval. How can a bungalow carry two-story building? Some 3. And so on. So it's a problem. All of us must join hands to combat.
All right, we have the next story. Let's look at the story of Anambra, cautioning residents against bush burning and indiscriminate dumping of refuse. Rains are coming, and a little rain that fell just this weekend. You see the roads everywhere littered.
I saw it. Before now, I had been in the campaign of don't dump your refuse in the water channels. Everybody. It is, the moment it is ready, you see children, you see even adults carrying their refuse down to the water channel. Some on the road where flood is passing. And at the end of the day, you get to water collection centers, you see all these things. If you get to major streets, it's a problem. We don't know how to. We had to set up marshals. At the time, Asoma was talking about marshals that will be moving around during the rains to get these people. Because a lot of enlightenment had gone on and people are still not stopping what they're doing. It is not good. We should try to orientate ourselves towards helping the society, building a cleaner environment.
All right, now the federal government sacks foreign miners from Zamfara State. I was kind of asking, foreigners, are they from outside the country?
If you check the level of criminality in Zamfara, it is being linked to foreign miners.
They're coming in through our
They
borders,
are
right?
coming through the borders, killing residents in order to have access to the mining areas. So that is why federal government has banned them.
No, but if that's the case, the way it's actually written here, it looks as if the federal government asked for them, employed them to actually do the job.
No, there were those that were licensed to do it. But then the illegal ones have taken advantage of the porous security we have in the country.
So in that case, both the legal and illegal.
Everybody should suspend.
All right, let's
action.
quickly move to the next paper for review. Remember that this program is audience participatory. You can call the numbers on your screen to make your own input on any issue of importance to you. Now let's go to the first paper, the Daily Times newspaper.
All stories making the headlines. The big story. Daily Times to immortalize Chuba Okadibo, names Institute for Civil Affairs after him. Well, on top of that story, rice processors contradict minister's rice sustainability theory. And riders over there alleges over 20 million bags of rice smuggled into Nigeria in 3 months. Federal government stops mining activities in Zamfara as bandits escalate killings. Naira stables as external reserves hike by $1.26 billion in 3 months. Afrexim Bank posts 24% increase in profits to $286 million in 2018. Wike promises not to take Rivers people's support for granted. Big story, Daily Times to immortalize Chuba Okadibo, names Institute for Civil Affairs after him.
Yeah, it's a good one because Okadibo contributed to a large extent when he worked in Daily Times. So that is why Daily Times to maybe one good turn deserves another. If they choose to immortalize him, that's very good. It shows that they appreciated his contributions when he was there with them.
All right, let's quickly look at this story. Naira stables as external reserves hike by $1.26 billion in 3 months.
It's a good one. It shows the government is doing so much to save. That is one thing. So, because at the time, we are not hearing depletion of our foreign reserve now. Previously, because of certain challenges in the home front. So, the foreign reserves, they are tampering with it, especially when they go this on their jamboree travel from one country to another. But today, maybe the current government has reduced the travel style and they are saving. So, it's good to save.
Rice processors contradict minister's rice sustainability theory. Alleges over 20 million bags of rice smuggled in Nigeria in 3 months. Of course, we over the week we heard what Aldo we were saying about.
This is where most Nigerians are worried, because we say we are processing rice, homemade rice. Our farmers are increasing their output and so on. But you still see that the importation is still going on through smuggling, though. Now you begin to look at it, and when they smuggle these ones, it will still be cheaper. So you now ask, what is the problem? When we produce here in the country, they're always higher. Imported rice is about 10,000, having passed all through the hurdles at the border. But if you, the homegrown rice here is 18,000 naira a bag. The same bag, you buy 10,000 naira foreign. So you now see why people patronize foreign rice more, because it is cheaper than the homegrown rice. So the government still has to do more to drop the price of the local made rice. Because if it is say 18,000 naira a bag and foreign rice is 10,000 naira, people will still prefer to go and buy foreign one. Because what they will tell you, it is better. I know many of our youngsters who don't eat local rice. They still go to the market, buy foreign rice. It is easy for them because it doesn't have stone like our local rice. So government should do more, find a better facility to distill all this rice they produce locally and drop the prices down to 10,000 naira. That is when we would now say.
Or maybe even cheaper.
Or even cheaper.
Do you see the possibility?
No, they should.
When
If we must sustain
we'll
the
start
food
from
policy.
somewhere, actually. You know, when we don't have a constant power supply, which is some of the reasons some of these things are high,
give.
you know. So,
No, but you still
No, but
have to.
if you look at this challenge, it's 18,000 to 10,000. Would you buy that?
are you sure a foreign rice is 10,000 naira?
Or maybe
At
we
the,
could
at the border, from where they smuggle them, it is cheaper. From the borders where they stop or smuggle it.
Okay, let's run the Daily Independent newspaper right now. The big headline we have in front says federal government begins operations to flush out Zamfara bandits, with riders there, bans mining, gives foreigners 48 hours to vacate. FG doesn't care about human lives. That's coming from Afenifere. ACF okays the state of emergency declaration. I'm the most unhappy president globally. That's coming from Buhari. And there is a picture in front of that. I think that's an accident scene. We see survivors being helped by other citizens to come out from the wrecked vehicles. All right, we have up there crisis in African Church, Calabar. Rivers threaten breakaway. Lagos State Fire Director, 6 others abducted. Police killed 3 bandits, lose 2 corpse, houses raised in Kaduna attack. No formal listing application from MTN. And down here we have Reps speakership disquiet as Dogara meets with APC lawmakers. Dixon offers employment to 307 PhDs, MSc holders, medical doctors. A rollout of new meters from May 1, not realistic, says manufacturers. Right, at this point, we'll pause here to bring you some commercials. The program will return after now. Don't go anywhere.
Life evolves. You should too. 3G is great. 4G is better. Buy an Airtel SIM to enjoy double data on Nigeria's widest 4G network.
Welcome back to the studio, and we are on a Daily Independent newspaper. You know, looking at the headlines there. Let's begin to look at Lagos State Fire Director, 6 others abducted. We still hear news of abduction in this country.
Just like when I was reading the social media yesterday, this news was there, and I was like, oh. Have all these kidnappers moved down to Lagos? Because at the time, Lagos was so quiet about this kidnapping issue, but with this trend now, it appears they have shifted down to Lagos. The day before, they kidnapped in the same area, and yesterday or the night before, they still kidnapped this man and 8 others. So it's a big challenge. Lagos, the cosmopolitan nature of Lagos, will not make this kidnapping thing to thrive. Perhaps that might be the reason why they haven't shifted their base to that place. But now they have done that. It's a wake-up call for security agencies there to step up efforts and tackle it.
All right, let's look at, okay, there's a caller here. Hello, good morning. All right, we lost that. Let's look at the Maiduguri bomb blast, where 5 persons have been killed and 45 others injured.
It is still the same thing that has been happening in Maiduguri. it will never end. And that's why some of the time they tell us Boko Haram has been defeated, and we keep on asking how. Because if we defeat them, they wouldn't still be bombing mosques, bombing markets, bombing churches here and there. And they will still be killing people here and there. So for the government to always tell us we have defeated Boko Haram, it's fair source of expectation of Nigerians. Because Nigerians, if you tell us you have defeated them, they shouldn't be bombing here and there.
All right, let's see the Punch newspapers next on the review line this morning.
All right, the big story there are making the headlines: Zamfara killings. PDP advises Buhari as federal government orders foreigners to leave mining sites. Well, on top of that story, RMAFC set to probe 22 banks over stamp duty collection. Lagos silent on amount spent on Tinubu others pension benefits. Concerns as 211 Nigerian oil blocks remain idle. Amechi orders plotting constitutional crises in rivers. That's coming from PDP. Lagos, Edo, Kaduna, Cross River owe over half of state's foreign debt. Federal government says polls delayed NHIS fraud probe report. CDHR disagrees. Hoodlums killed 2, injure other during attack on tricycle operators. Gunmen abduct Lagos Fire Service boss. 6 others. Saraki urges Qatar to end visa restrictions on Nigerians.
And the picture in the front of the Punch newspapers is showing where I think rain that fell destroyed properties. This is happening in Abuja, and the sequel to what the state government is saying that we should not burn the bushes and dump refuse anyhow, so that when rain comes, it will not cause such havoc in the society.
You now see, as we have in Oka here, we have the same in Abuja, we have the same in Lagos. You see, our culture of dumping refuse in water channels is very bad. It's so condemnable. Look at whenever there is rain, everywhere, all the water channels blocked in major cities because of the attitude of the residents going to using water channels as garbage bin. It's wrong. It's wrong. People should actually try to change their mindset about this thing. Because government will provide refuse dumps here and there. Instead of them going to all these refuse dumps to dump their refuse, they wait until it is raining, they move to the gutter and start pouring refuse. It's very bad.
All right, there's always this fear and report that someday the Nigerian oil will dry up. And now concerns as 211 Nigerian oil blocks remain idle.
Let us forget about this oil and think about something else. Honestly, let's diversify with our economy. Let us forget about oil because electric-driven cars are coming up here and there. So maybe by the next 10 years, major manufacturers in Europe and America continues to produce electric-driven cars. What are we going to do?
I think a few years from now in Europe, it's going to...
in
UK, precisely.
No, UK, precisely. Japan, too. By last week, 5 countries in Europe tested and rolled out more than 5,000 electric-driven cars. So if they continue this every year, in the next 10 years, we shouldn't be talking about we should be drinking our oil here.
I'm telling you.
Honestly speaking.
All right. I don't know. Let's quickly look at this quickly.
Okay. We have to go to the next paper for want of time. The Guardian newspapers. The first story, the big one there. Government orders foreign miners to leave Zamfara in 48 hours. Let's quickly see who is here before we go on. Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello, you're on. Oh, sorry. Maybe it's network, but let's move on for want of time. The Guardian. Government orders foreign miners to leave Zamfara in 48 hours, with riders there suspends mining after bandits killing of 50. Again, gunmen invade Kaduna community, while criminals may be untamable by police IGP. Up there we have this story, controversy over air traffic figures, 525 billion naira ticket sales, gunmen kidnap Lagos Fire Service boss and 6 others. Between Inuwa Yahaya's victory and challenges of government governing Gombe, taming collapse of building monster in Nigeria. Taming collapse of building monster in Nigeria. I think we've seen that story. All right, let's see this. Why criminals may be untamable by police IGP. What's your take on that?
You see, look at this Zamfara story. If you watch major newspapers, they all used it as lead stories.
Okay.
That shows the sensitivity of that story. Because the federal government has woken up to the challenges of criminality in Zamfara. Because remember at the time, the governor threatened to resign, that he's no longer the chief security. Because what was happening in his state then surpassed his capacity. Then he was crying and crying every time. These bandits will come from outside, invade communities, kill number of people as they like and get away. These miners will continue their activities. Now, they don't know who are the miners and who are these criminals because they all operate in the same way. More especially where the communities in Zamfara are resisting the illegal miners. So the criminals will want to stage their activity, and by how do they do it? By attacking the residents, kill them and do their mining activities and get away. They kidnap, they do all sorts of things. So it became so worrisome to Governor Yari at that time that he even threatened to resign.
All right.
Today, the federal government has intervened by stopping all activities.
It's important to rise to the challenge,
yes,
and I believe that very soon something positive will come out of it.
There should be a way out.
All right, that's the much you can take for. We have no more time. For our callers, please, we're sorry we can't take more calls now for our time is up. We'd like to thank you very much, Mr. Paulson Okeke, for joining us on Paper Review this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.